Yep. Are you going to support the infrastructure bill in the House?
Well, we'll see what it turns out to be. Speaker Pelosi obviously has some big challenges in her own conference here, members who want to spend considerably more. Right now, the way the Senate bill's structured, it's too little, I think, of the core infrastructure we all support. I think too much pork in a major way. It isn't paid for. And obviously in the House, it's not a standalone bill. It will be tied to the $3.5 trillion spending, crippling tax hikes bill. And so for Republicans, look, we don't want tax hikes that wipe out any of the economic benefit from infrastructure. So it faces, I think, big challenges.
But if it's all of those things that you just described it as, why did 19 of your fellow Republicans support it in the Senate? We're not talking about a simple majority vote, Congressman. We're talking about 2/3 of the Senate.
Sure, Scott. So sometimes Senate Republicans and House Republicans see issues differently. And especially when a bill like this is tied to the biggest tax hikes we've seen in our lifetime and the biggest expansion of the welfare state since the New Deal, it will be a different vote in the House than the Senate. So, and again, let's see what that final bill looks like. But my guess is it gets worse in the House.
Well, let me just ask you, because it sounds to me like you're conflating the two together. Let's take one from the other. The $1 trillion infrastructure plan that passed the Senate. Is there anything in that you can support individually before we even get to the $3.5 trillion budget initiative?
The answer is absolutely yes. About 1/4 of that bill is what I think most people consider true core infrastructure that everyone supports. There is so much wasteful spending in there that I think most Americans would balk at. So if it were trimmed down and really focused, I think there would be, and paid for, clearly I would vote for that in a second. But you have to put the two together because Speaker Pelosi has insisted the two bills will move together in the House. And so you can't separate them. At least in our chamber.
There's a fair point you make, and she has, in fact, said that. Whether that's exactly the way it progresses from here, of course, remains to be seen. Congressman Kevin O'Leary has a question for you.
Congressman,
yes, sir.
This second bill, first of all, I applaud you on the infrastructure package, particularly the broadband initiative to extend to rural markets. That's going to be fantastic for small business in America, where I'm an investor. This second bill, this $3.5 trillion, tell me if I'm wrong. I look at it and see that the U.S., this marvelous economy, sitting in the middle of the G20 in terms of corporate taxes, right in the middle, very competitive again. We're not at the top, we're not at the bottom, we're right in the middle. If this bill is implemented, this $3.5 trillion, and the tax proposals in it, just tell me if I'm wrong, because I just want to call it the way it is. The U.S. will become #1 in the G20 in terms of corporate taxes, and people living in states like here in New York, particularly Manhattan, and in Massachusetts and California, the highest taxed individuals on earth. Now, is that a good thing for America?
It is. You're absolutely right about how uncompetitive we'll become as a country. I have no doubt we will see a second wave of U.S. companies moving their jobs, investment, research overseas. Secondly, yes, it drives up taxes on almost all Americans in a significant way. And I'd be remiss if I didn't get a chance to tell you, my family and I are huge fans of Shark Tank and love what you do. But look, no president has ever raised taxes like this as a country tries to work their way out of economic pandemic and having the worst tax rate in the world against our competitors. And the international tax changes, frankly, from the president, make it better to be a foreign company and worker than an American one. These make no economic sense at all, which is why we're going to fight those tax increases tooth and nail in the House.